Hi, welcome back. I'm Georgie, if you're new. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about books. I'm so excited. I haven't done a book video in a very, very long time, but I feel like it's really overdue. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I've read this year. I know the year isn't over, but it's just turned to November, and I haven't done a single what I've read in a year. I think all year other than like February. So I don't want it to be too big by the end of the year, so I feel like if I do one now and then I just fill in the blanks from now until the end of the year, that'll be the best way to do it. So we're going to go through all the books that I've read, and I'm just going to give a quick summary of how I felt about them, and I think a rating, I think out of 5. I hope you enjoy. If you want some of the books, I think I'm going to go in more depth in like a separate video where I'll talk about them for a longer period of time, but for now it'll just be, because there's so many books to get through, so for now they'll just be like a little rating. We're also on a camera, so it's exciting times. I'm just testing the camera out. It'll probably make me look weird, I'm sorry. If it looks weird, let me know and I'll go back to the phone, but I'm trying to be professional. Okay, let's get started. The first one, I don't have the physical copy, but I read Wuthering Heights at the start of the year. I read a lot of classics. I always have. I always try and read like a book that I like in a classic. My mum used to make me do that when I was little, and now I like it because I can, I read lots of different things. So I'm used to the kind of writing that it was, but I hated it. I know that a lot of people love it. I know that it's like the quote, whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same, whatever. But I hated it. I thought that the characters, there were no redeemable characters. I thought everybody was a horrible person. I wasn't drawn into it. I didn't care about, what's his name? Heathcliff. Like, shut up. And Catherine. They were horrible people. I was like, I don't like you two. So probably like based on my enjoyment, I'd give it like a 2 out of 5. Based on writing value, probably a 4 out of 5. It was very well written. But even with that character, I can't remember his name, but he had a really strong accent. I had no idea what he was saying half the time. I couldn't piece it together. I could not piece it together with what was written on the page. So sometimes I was like, where are we? What are we doing? What's going on? I didn't love that book, which I was really sad about because a lot of people talk about it, but yeah. Then I read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I would probably give like a 1 out of 5. I enjoyed It Ends With Us, but I feel like It Starts With Us, there was really no need for it. It was just like what happens after, but if you could do that to any book ever. Like the point of the book is that the story ends when the story ends. So I feel like the next one was just, I get that we saw her in Atlas, but I really didn't feel like it was needed and I wasn't that invested. Then I read The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Oh my god, one of my favorite books. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. I absolutely loved it. I cried at the end. I thought that it was so well written and the story was very interesting. I had no idea where it was going when I began, and by the end of it, it had taken me 100 different places. The characters were really well fleshed out, and I thought that the relationship between the students and, is it Julian? I haven't read it in a while. The teacher, that was really interesting, that dynamic. It was such a good book. I'm going to make another video talking about it because I loved it so much. But yeah, 4 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. And then I read A Touch of Darkness. I can't remember who it's by. This book I really enjoyed. It was a retelling of Persephone and Hades. I think I'm getting that right. If I haven't, I'll fix it. But it's kind of like an enemies to lovers modern day Greek mythology retelling, which I enjoyed. I love Greek mythology. I have always loved Greek mythology. So I enjoyed the premise. It was good. It wasn't good. I think there's more books. It wasn't good enough that I really like have a desperate need to read the rest of the books and know what happens. But I enjoyed it for face value. I enjoyed it for what it was. I would probably give it like a 3 out of 5. It was a solid read. It was lots of fun. A little bit of Greek mythology, which I enjoyed. So yeah, it was good. Then I read My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I was really disappointed by this book. A lot of people that I know really loved it, and I've heard so many great things about it, so I was really excited going into it. I think there was something about the way that it was written that just didn't click with me. The writing style, I feel in general, I couldn't connect with it. And I felt like the story was so heavy and so dark, which I know was the point of it, but it made me feel really heavy and dark, and not in a way that I feel like I found a resolution. You know, I don't mind a book making me feel heavy and emotional, as long as it takes me somewhere where by the end of it I felt a change, some sort of change at least, or I've recognized something within that heaviness. But I feel like I didn't with that book. I feel like it was just, I couldn't really connect with the story, and I couldn't really connect with the writing, and so I just felt really, really heavy, and for no reason. So I'd probably give that book like a 2 out of 5, just in terms of my enjoyment of it. I didn't really love it. Next, I read If We Were Villains, which it's kind of along the same vein as The Secret History. It was so good. I'd probably give this one a 4.5, maybe a 5 out of 5. I feel like this one was a 5 out of 5. I think I loved this one more because the characters weren't as pretentious as The Secret History, and also it was set in like a Shakespearean drama school. I am an actor, so that part of it, that element of it, having the Shakespeare be woven into the story was so interesting to me, and I loved it. I bawled my eyes out. I loved that book so much. It holds such a special place in my heart. I want to reread it and just annotate the hell out of it, and yeah, I'm gonna become obsessed with that book at some stage. I just need the time because I thought it was so well written, so well done. The characters were incredible. Again, very weird, kind of, it takes you on a journey, 100 different journeys, but I loved it. I thought it was so, so good. I cannot recommend it enough. The next one was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I was so disappointed by. I was so excited to read that book. I'd read like the first chapter a while ago, and I thought the writing was really excellent, and I was so, so excited to read it, and then I read it and I was very disappointed. I thought it was good. Oh, sorry, I have it here. I haven't been bringing up the books. It's somewhere. Oh yeah, sorry. This is what If We Were Villains looks like. I forgot, I haven't been showing you. That's If We Were Villains. It's so freaking good. Read this book. Read it right now. Anyway, I feel like the writing style was really excellent. It was very, I loved the way that it was written. I thought it was very beautifully written. But the storyline, I felt, just didn't give me anything. It was kind of predictable the way that it played out. I didn't really know what was happening, and there was no real like plot twist, or there was no like sense of urgency with what was happening. It just kind of unfolded. In my opinion, there was just nothing that gripped me in. I didn't really care that much. And I actually found it really slow in parts because it was so long. I feel like it could have been a much shorter book. So that was a little bit upsetting. But yeah. So I'd probably give that one like a 2 out of 5 in terms of my personal enjoyment. Okay, let's continue, shall we? I feel like I'm talking really quickly. I'm sorry. The next one that I read was Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I thought that this was really good for a romance book. I thought it gave me everything that I wanted. It was a cute little story. There was a cute boy, and the story, just the way that it played out was really lovely, and I was really interested in it, and it was a very easy read, but I really enjoyed it. So I'd probably give this one like a 4 out of 5. I feel like it's necessary to say that my ratings are all relative to what it is. Like, for example, this is a romance book, so for what it is, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I wouldn't say that this could be compared to like If We Were Villains, for example, which I gave a 5 out of 5. But I feel like this is a much better book than this in terms of like writing value and, you know, all of that stuff combined. But for what it is, for the romance book, I don't expect much from romance books just because I get quite bored in them because there's no other like, there's no outside plot happening. It's just the romance, which kind of bores me a little bit. So when I find a romance book that I love, I rate it highly, but it's relative, if that makes sense. Not that I'm shitting on romance books. I'm not trying to be mean to romance books. Love them. But it's relative, you know? But I'd give this a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. The next book that I read, what's in there, was The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen, I can't read his last name. Sorry, it's over there. I enjoyed this book. I thought it was, I haven't watched the movie. I really read the book because I want to watch the movie, and a lot of people have told me that I'm going to love the movie, and I know that the movie's going to destroy me because I've seen clips of it on TikTok. And I thought that the book was really well done. But again, I think the style of writing personally, because it was from Charlie's perspective, like it was a journal, personally I found it a little bit hard to connect with it at times. So I'd probably rate it a 3 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that the movie is going to kill me. So I'm very excited for the film. The next book that I read was Homebody. I really love Rupi. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. I really love their writing. I have loved their poetry for a while. See, look how many... I dog-eared the book. I never dog-eared the book, but I did. I feel dirty and gross that I did it. I'm sorry. But there were so many pages that I wanted to remember. There were too many for me to like draw in it, so I just dog-eared it. It's really good. It's really good if you want poetry that's going to make you think and make you feel. Get it. Then I read, I think I'm going to do a separate video talking about these books. The Twisted Love series. I read all 4 books. I'd probably give them all up like a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed them. Some of them, I feel like all up, had a bit too much sex. I'm sorry. I know that like smut is the point of these books, but there was just times where I was like, yo, we get it, we know. Like we know, there's enough. That's enough out of you guys. And some of them, I think my favorite was, I think 3, because it was, the male character was the least bit toxic. All of the men, I just was like, what is going on with you guys? Shut up. You're so crazy. Like they were a bit too sinister for me, you know? Especially, anyway, I'll talk about this in a separate video, but I'd give it 3 out of 5. Maybe 2.5. I enjoyed it. 3 out of 5. I mean, I finished a series. If I really didn't like it, I wouldn't have finished the series. So I gave it a 3. Then I read, I don't know if I have it. I read Addicted to You. Hopefully I can put the author's name up on the screen. But I read Addicted to You. I did not like this book at all. I hated this book. I just felt like it just wasn't for me. Something about it I just didn't like. I wasn't that interested in it. And I don't know. I didn't really care. I think it was also a bit too dark. Like, I don't know. It wasn't even that. I just didn't really like it. So I don't think I'm going to continue the Addicted to You series, which makes me sad. But I'd probably give it like a 1 out of 5. I really didn't enjoy it. I don't know what it was specifically. I didn't like it, which made me sad because I was excited to read it. So anyway. Okay, I don't know if you can see them, but they're here. There's 3. The Furyborn series. It's a fantasy series. Actually, I think the series is called something different, but there's Furyborn, Kingsbane, and Lightbringer. I loved this series. I'm going to talk about it in a separate video when I talk about fantasy books that I enjoy, but I absolutely loved this series. I have not been this excited about a fantasy series in a while, so it was really refreshing and really fun to be excited by one again. I thought it was so good. I'd give it like a 4 out of 5. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought that, honestly, 4.5. 4.5 out of 5. I loved it. I ate it up. It had everything that I wanted. I'll talk about it more in another video, but it was really good. Really, really good. Then I read, it's over here, I don't know if you can see it. I read Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. Or Mellors? I don't know how you say it. I really enjoyed this book. I thought that this book was very interesting. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I liked that kind of the premise is Cleo is British and she's living in New York and she needs a green card and she meets this guy named Frank who's an older guy, and so they get married for the green card. And I like that they got straight to it. Like pretty much in the 2nd chapter I think they were already married, which intrigued me because I was like, well, what else is going to happen? I mean, they're already married now. And so I think that the way that the story unfolded was really interesting. And I also loved the way that it pictured New York. As someone who's lived in New York. Sorry, that's crazy for me to say. But I did spend a little bit of time in New York and I love that city. But I also feel like this book really captured all of its sides, if that makes sense. Because there's good and bad sides to New York. And I definitely could feel when I was there that there's this like, there's a dark side to New York. And I feel like that book reflected it a little bit, which I loved. all the characters were very complex, and I think that Coco really explored their complexities in a really great way. So I really enjoyed it. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. Then I read, again, TikTok is influencing me, so I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I really liked it. I hate the cover. Look at that. Oh, like it looks like smut. It looks like I'm just reading porn, which, I mean, it's not that far off, but there's other stuff to it, but it doesn't look like it. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think, like, the premise is good. I like the premise that each book is about a different guy in the hockey team. So I'm currently reading The Mistake, which I like, not as much as this, but I am enjoying it. But again, I'm getting kind of bored now because I feel like there's at least 100 pages in all of these books that I don't feel like is needed. Like, we could have ended it here, you know, but they keep going on. I'm like, okay, yeah, we get it. But I really liked this one. It was fun. It was a bit of fun. And I like the level of smut. I think sometimes it gets too much and I'm like, ugh, yuck. Bit too explicit. And like, from the man's perspective, I'm like, ew, please don't tell me that's how men think about girls. Anyway, some of it I'm like disgusting, but most of it I feel like there was a good level of smut and it was good. Sorry, I know this video is just me talking, so you're probably like, shut up! But hopefully you're not, because I love talking about books. Then I started the Shatter Me series. So I've read Shatter Me and Unravel Me. Gobble me, swallow me. Why does it sound like that? I don't know why, but Shatter Me, Unravel Me sounds like WAP lyrics. Maybe that's just my brain, but that's where it's taking me. I enjoyed them. I'd probably give them a 3 out of 5 so far. I think the storyline is really interesting. I love the dystopian feel that they have to them. I love the dystopian atmosphere. I love, you know, like Maze Runner, Hunger Games, Divergent, that kind of era of dystopian movies. So I think this is kind of like a nod back to that, which I really enjoy. I will say though, there's something about the writing that I'm struggling with. I think maybe it's because it's in first person. Maybe it's because there's lots of like 1, 2, 3, 4 breaths. You know, I feel lightheaded. The world's coming to an end. I just don't really like that style of writing. Like, I feel like that's a little bit much. I'm like, okay, yeah, we get it. What is this? Sorry, that's so mean, but that's just my brain. That's just like, you know, my personal opinion. You can have a completely different opinion. But, so I will say some of the writing stops me from being as invested as I feel like I usually would be. Like, for example, with, not that I want to compare, but with Furyborn, the previous fantasy series that I talked about, I was in it. Like, I was really in it. You know, a character could have taken a breath and I would have been like, what are they going to do? But this one, I'm kind of sitting at a backseat a little bit. I still enjoy it. I still like it. The main character's starting to bug me though, which I feel like is true for most fantasy series or just most series that I read that aren't like romance books. I feel like the main character always bugs me. But so is Adam. Ugh, shut up. Sorry. Love Adam, but also that's enough out of you. But it's good. I'm excited to see where it goes. I will read it. I just have to buy it. And I have so many other books to read, so I'll finish it at some stage, but so far I like it. I think I'll do a separate video on that as well. But yeah, that's it at the moment. So that was 22 books that I've read this year. That's pretty good for me. I usually try and read around 20. Sometimes I get there, sometimes I don't, because my reading habits fluctuate throughout the year. But I will say that I've read a good number of good books this year, which excites me because sometimes I go through lulls. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. Comment down below which ones you liked, if you agree or disagree with any of my opinions, because that's totally fine. You're allowed to do that. Like and subscribe if you want more videos about books. I'm going to talk more about books because I love them. You don't have to listen, but it'd be cool if you did. Have a good day. Bye.